Dear NATO Secretary General, Mr. Stoltenberg, dear citizens, dear representatives of the media, dear guests, at the outset, I would like to express my particular appreciation for the unselfish and dedicated personal engagement by Secretary General Stoltenberg on the promotion of the partnership and cooperation between NATO and the Republic of Macedonia. Citizens of our country will always remember that the invitation to NATO, a decision of historic importance for our country, for the future of our country and of our citizens, was signed personally by our friend Jens Stoltenberg on the 12th of July this year in Brussels. By this grand gesture, NATO has encouraged and accelerated the process of integration of the Republic of Macedonia to NATO and has thus enhanced the sense of belonging of our country to the most powerful security organization in the world. This has also strongly reaffirmed the care for the security and stability of our country. Furthermore, the invitation has had a positive impact on the internal cohesion of our society and has promoted the Republic of Macedonia as an example in the Western Balkans, while contributing to regional prosperity. We have demonstrated that strong leadership and a vision for the future produce excellent results. I am indeed glad that this approach was recognized by my colleagues from Bulgaria and from Greece. Our new strong partnership, forged with the agreement reached with these two our neighbors, directly strengthen regional security and stability. On the domestic front, the government is pursuing activities to fulfill the goals under the plan for accession to NATO. At the highest political level, we have established a committee for integration into NATO, which will be chaired by me and which will be co-chaired by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, Radmila Šekerinska, Deputy Prime Minister in charge of European Affairs, Mr. Bujar Osmani, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Nikola Dimitrov. At the working level, we have established Working Committee for Integration into NATO, headed by the National Coordinator for NATO Integration, Mr. Stevo Pendarovski. The planning process has already started. We are preparing a plan for implementation of reforms in accordance with the indicative program of NATO for continuing reforms. As it is well known, there will be special focus on the rule of law, justice system reforms, fight against corruption and organized crime, reforms in the defense sector, and reforms of the security services. NATO's strong support is of great importance for us so that we can complete the reform processes in good time and successfully. The referendum on the 30th September will be yet another important challenge. We are at a historic crossroads for our future. I am confident that the citizens will recognize the importance of this moment for the prospects of our country. In this respect, I expect that relevant political parties, especially the opposition, will show unity and that they will be included in the processes. Integration into EU and NATO are our national strategic priorities. They have been defined as such unanimously 25 years ago. They were again unanimously reaffirmed at Parliament on the 19th of July 2018 with the adoption of the new declaration supporting the process of accession to NATO. We are pursuing the campaign for the referendum, founding ourselves on the principles of objectivity, transparency, and rationality. Our aim is to inform citizens about the achievements deriving from the accession of the Republic of Macedonia to the European Union, NATO, and about the importance of reaching a final agreement on settling the Macedonian-Greek name difference. By voting at the referendum, citizens will exercise their right to participate in the decision-making decision-making process. I'm confident that the referendum will be successful and that after that we will be able to proceed with constitutional amendments without any delays. I expect that we will complete the process in good time so that the protocol for accession to NATO can be signed at the beginning of 2019, after which the NATO members will be able to start the ratification process. We are looking forward to taking up our deserved place in NATO and to equally shoulder the burden and responsibilities of the alliance. Public opinion polls are encouraging. Our citizens want a settlement for the name difference and want the country to become part of EU and NATO. 75 to 80% of our citizens support our membership of EU and NATO. This gives us optimism that we are on the right track. In conclusion, I would like to once again thank you, dear friend Jens. I would like to express my appreciation to your team and to the team of the local NATO office in Skopje for the consistent and full support to our membership of NATO. We are looking forward to the moment when, as an equal partner of NATO, in NATO, we become part of the alliance that has been the pillar of peace and security in the last 7 decades by providing thus development and prosperity for the entire Euro-Atlantic region. Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister. Now we will hear NATO Secretary General.
Dobar den, Skopje, and Prime Minister Zaev there, Zoran. It's a great pleasure to be back here in Skopje and to meet with you and with your ministers and many other politicians in this beautiful country. As you know, at the NATO summit in July, allies invited you to start accession talks, following the agreement with Greece on the name issue. Compromise is never easy, and both sides made difficult compromises in order to reach this historic breakthrough and look to a brighter future. So I want to thank you, Zoran, for your leadership and for your courage. In a few weeks' time, you will hold a referendum on the name agreement. This is your decision, but it is important that you make your voices heard. So I encourage voters to turn out in strong numbers. This is once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become a full member of the international community, with all the benefits that this will bring. The accession talks are underway. NATO membership is now within grasp. This is an opportunity to consolidate peace and stability in the country and in the region, to gain a seat and an equal vote at NATO's table, and to join the most successful alliance in history. NATO keeps almost 1 billion citizens across Europe and North America safe. So joining NATO would mean having 29 other countries committed to protect you and your security. Security is also the bedrock of prosperity and economic opportunity. Since Montenegro joined the alliance last year, foreign investment from allied countries has doubled. So, Prime Minister, we are ready. We are ready to welcome your country as NATO's 30th member. Once your national procedures are complete, I'm confident that all allies will ratify your accession. Zoran, I congratulate you on the progress you have made taking this country forward. The economy is picking up and the reforms are being implemented, including on the rule of law, security and intelligence, and the defense sector. I encourage you to continue with these reforms. And this will make you safer, stronger, and even better able to work side by side with NATO allies. You already make important contributions to international security. And earlier today I met some of the troops from your country that have served in NATO missions in Afghanistan and in Iraq. So we thank you for your contributions to our military operations and missions. And you also help to promote stability in the Western Balkans. Prime Minister, we want to see your country succeed, and we will support you. NATO's door is open, but only the people of this country can decide to walk through it. So your future is in your hands. We wait for you in NATO. Ve čekame vo NATO. Благодарам.
Почитувани новинари,
dear journalists, let's go with the questions. As we have agreed, the first question is from international media. They have agreed that the Bloomberg correspondent will ask the question
my name is Stoltenberg. I work for Bloomberg.
It's on.
Mr. Zaev, my question is to you. You've hinted a few times recently that there are signs of Russia meddling in your domestic affairs. Do you still see such signs? Do you think Russia is working to block the implementation of the name deal? And how far do you think this can go? Thank you.
So, you know that a unanimous or consensus decision since 1993 in our country is our full membership in NATO and European Union. That was confirmed 2 months ago, really, in the new declaration in our parliament. There is no alternative for my country than full membership of NATO and also parallelly full membership of European Union. We are a small country and we are a friendly country, and our intention is to build friendship with everybody, including Russia. And I hope that our citizens will have complete freedom to choose the future, what they nominated always in the past 25 years. That is huge expectation and huge strategic goal for everybody here in this multi-ethnic country, and that is to become full member of NATO and European Union.
Второто прашање Аниса Алсат, третото Тамара Грчаровска. Аниса, повели.
Hello, Anisa Al-Satem Television. Knowing the importance of the national consensus for the referendum, I would like to hear from you, Mr. Stoltenberg. How was your meeting with President Ivanov and your meeting with the leader of the opposition, Mickoski, because both of them have already confirmed their position against the referendum. There are voices that you weren't warmly welcomed by Ivanov. Is it true? And what about the meeting with Mickoski? Which was your message you brought to him? And what about his feedback?
I had very good meetings with both the president and with the leader of the opposition, and I think it's important when I visit this country that I meet both with the government, the prime minister, the ministers, but also with the opposition, because that's part of living and strong democracy. And for me it's also important to listen and to understand and to listen to their concerns and their views. And therefore I think that was important for me to meet both the president and the leader of the opposition, and also with other parliamentarians. My message in those meetings was that this is an historic opportunity for this country. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to join the international community, to become a member of NATO, to become a member of the European Union. But to do so, you have to agree to the name agreement. There is no other way. There is no alternative path into NATO. And I say that because I understand, of course, that people in this country have a wish or have some kind of first best alternative to say no to the agreement and yes to joining NATO. But that alternative doesn't exist. There is no way you can join NATO without the name agreement. So therefore, you can either say yes to the agreement and yes to membership, or no to the agreement, but that's also no to membership. The idea that there is an alternative where you can reject the name agreement with Greece and join NATO is an absolute and total illusion. And I think for me, as a friend of your country, I have to be honest about this. Because I was present at the summit in Bucharest in 2008. So I know how difficult the name issue is. And for 10 years, we have waited for you. We are ready. 29 allies, including Greece, decided at the summit to invite you, decided at the summit to start accession talks. Accession talks have started, but we will not conclude the accession talks before you implement the name agreement. I understand that's difficult, but that's the alternative. Either name agreement and membership, or no name agreement, but then no membership. And let me also add that I really believe that it will be a good thing for all of us to work more closely together, because security is important also for economic growth, prosperity. And we see that in Montenegro, where investments from NATO allies have doubled since they joined the alliance. The last thing I will say is that we can actually, if you implement the name agreement, we can sign the accession protocol this winter. And then you will participate. So we have a defense ministerial meeting in February, and your defense minister can be there, sit at the table, have an equal seat together with the rest of us around that table. So if you decide to implement a name agreement, you can start to participate in NATO meetings already the day after.
Tamara Grnčarovska.
Tamara Grnčarovska from Telma Television.
A question to Prime Minister Zaev. If the census at the referendum is not met, what will be the next step of the government surrounding the agreement with Greece? I consider myself as the greatest optimist, even when the reasons for optimism were far lesser. As 30th of September is approaching, the historic day for Macedonia, I have less and less reasons to think what if. There is no what if. I am convinced that the referendum will be successful, that the majority will vote yes, and I have no dilemmas over it. But the only thing that I want, and I would like to share this with the general public, is for us all together to stand shoulder to shoulder to start our integration into NATO and the European Union, because it will bring economic standard for our citizens. We will keep our youth here, and we will have prosperity here in our own country. A colleague from the Austrian television in the second row.
Austrian television, non-NATO country, but very interested in the enlargement process. What the enlargement, what the membership of Macedonia to NATO will means for the security situation in the Balkans. How you evaluate this, how it will improve the security situation in the whole Western Balkans?
Membership will contribute to stability in the whole region. And I think we have seen this over many years, that the enlargement of NATO and the enlargement of the European Union has contributed to peace and stability and prosperity all over Europe, also in this region. We have NATO members here with, also in the region with Slovenia, Croatia, Albania, but also most recently Montenegro. And I think we have seen every time NATO has enlarged that it has contributed to stability and prosperity. So of course, if you decide to join, it's your decision. NATO will never force any country into the alliance. It's you that have to decide. But if you decide to join by accepting the name agreement, then it will contribute to stability in the Western Balkans. That's important for you. It's important also for all other NATO allies. Because when our neighborhood is more stable, we are more secure. And the best way to contribute to stability is, of course, to also have a stronger NATO with more members, including with your country.
Почитувани медиуми, ви благодариме на вниманието. Тоа е крајот.
Is that all?